Good morning. It's Thursday. Hooray. You guys, I'm so sleepy. Who's going to bring me some coffee this morning? I need like a double shot of espresso and a kick in the pants. I'm just, you know how you just have those mornings where you just yawn and yawn and yawn? I'm totally having a yawn morning. I don't understand what that's about. I don't feel particularly worn out, but I am definitely sleepy. Like I could curl up with a good blanket right about now. So somebody bring me a double shot of espresso and let's get moving. We've got good stuff going on today, you guys. Lots of fun things are in the shop. Have you seen? Hi, Kathleen. Good morning, my darling. How are you? There's Miss Jane. Oh, my favorite people showing up. Hey, Leah. So happy to see you guys. Do you have coffee? Please share. How we doing? Miss Betty. So good to see you. Hi, Kirsty. Good morning. Good morning, Angie. Oh, hugs. Hugs right back to you, my friend. Rosanna. Hi, darling. Oh, I love being with you guys. Donna, hi. Donna's happy. Donna's had her coffee this morning. Angie says she can't stay, but she came to say, hey, that's totally fine. Kathleen says lack of oxygen to the brain causes yawning. Well, I'm going to need some oxygen then because I've been yawning all morning and I just cannot seem to stop. I hate it when that happens. And I really hate it like when I'm doing a live and I feel a yawn coming, because you know that happens, right? You feel a yawn coming on and you just like, your face, everything kind of tenses up, so you hold it in, you know, because you've been in a meeting and you don't want to yawn because you don't want to think like your boss thinks that he's putting you to sleep, right? Everybody's been there. Good morning. Rosanna says, no coffee, but I do have tea. I could go for some tea. I've got some pumpkin black tea downstairs that is calling my name. Hey, Maria. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Joan. How we doing, guys? All right, so looks like the gang's all here. Let's talk about it. There's Miss Sarah James. Good morning, my darling. How are ya? Oh, okay. So you guys, we're gonna make some sassy little earrings today. And I say little, and I just mean that like as a term of endearment because you guys know I don't ever make little earrings. I mean, hello. We don't do little around here. We do big, sassy, in charge kinds of designs. And so that's what we're doing today. We're going to make some sassy earrings and they're kind of fun. Well, I mean, obviously they're fun. The beads are what makes these really super fun. We're going to use the Haunted Hayride bead mix. It's this one with all of these yummy, like burnt orange, deep, just like so rich oranges for this season. Yes. I'm like waiting for the trees to become this color. It's happening. It's just going really slow. It's like, come on, come on. I live in a place where we are fortunate to have the most amazing fall colors. And I always look forward to that. And I always like start watching for the leaves to start changing in the end of August, which I know is way early, but I get so excited about it. Like the anticipation is crazy. Donna says mine is Diet Mountain Dew. Yep, I could go for a Mountain Dew kick in the pants right about now. I totally could. I love it. We're all having our coffee together this morning. Our coffee, our tea, our Mountain Dew. I've got my water here and I'm going to go find some caffeine here very, very soon. I've already had coffee, but it just hasn't quite kicked in yet. So when we're about halfway through this, you guys will see like I'll be swinging from the rafters here, not too long from now. So lots of fun things going on. There are, of course, our weekly deals that we always want to touch base on because we still have plenty of time to work on those, right? If you want to add those to your cart, because the weekly deals are good until Mondays. That's when they change. So still plenty of time. The buy 3, get 1 free fairy silk deal is still going on, you guys, and it's such a good one. I love fairy silk so much, and there are some really beautiful colors. I thought I had them sitting right here so that I could show you, but now they seem to have gotten covered up. Darn, this mess around me, you just would not believe. But there are some really gorgeous colors that go with the Nightmare Before Christmas collection, and they're so pretty. So pretty. Donna, sorry, I just have to go back to the comments for a second because I do see them going by. Donna says, what state do you live in? I'm in Florida and we don't have fall. Yeah, I know. I love fall let me back up. I love Florida so much, but I don't think I could live there all year because I have to have fall. We are in Tennessee and we definitely get a fall around here. We have the beautiful Smoky Mountains surrounding us, and so the colors turn, and when they do, it's really a magical time of year. Okay, so the code for the buy 3 get 1 free on the fairy silk is Fall Fairy. And of course, no spaces. I always have to remind you guys that because sometimes people have never used a coupon code before when they go to checkout, and it can be a little bit confusing. Let's see. Okay. Also 10% off all clasps. And you guys, we made a project yesterday using some of the beads from the Magical Mystery Bead Box from September, and we used a gorgeous clasp. I hope you guys paid attention to that clasp because that is just one of the many beautiful clasps that are available over on the Jesse James Beads website. It is a great way to add a beautiful finishing touch, or like we did yesterday, to be part of the actual design itself as the focal. And I love that for making gifts, right? We're all thinking about gift giving. I actually started my Christmas shopping this morning. Can you believe that? Like we're not even full week into October. Well, I guess we are because it's 8 days in, but yeah. And I started my Christmas shopping this morning. Crazy. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that when you are making jewelry to give as gifts or to sell for shows this time of year, that extra touch just kind of takes things to a whole nother place, right? And then last but not least is the $10 off the Magical Mystery Bead Box subscription, and the code for that is mystery. So those things are still kicking, going strong until Monday when they change to something else. There will be a new set of weekly deals for you guys to pick and choose from. And that's not all that's going on. Of course, there is what's new over on the website. So go take a look, see if you have not had a chance to do that yet. But cage beads are back in stock, and so are these rose bead pairs. You guys, these are so pretty. I don't have any to show you in person at the moment, but I can tell you that there's like a rose bead color for everybody. Absolutely everybody. I am really loving the one that is like the silver color with the black roses on it. I feel like that is just like the perfect Halloween rose situation, right? Because roses, like, maybe you don't really think about Halloween, but I definitely think of fall when I think of roses, because a lot of times, like at least here in this part of the country, we're getting our last little batch of roses before it frosts, before we have that first freeze frost. So we're getting our last glimpses of these beautiful flowers before the season really kind of takes over. There is a cobalt blue that is absolutely gorgeous. And of course the classic red. You can't go wrong with classic red roses. Those are going to sass up any of your designs, right? Red roses are just so sassy and classy. Love that. There's a gorgeous fuchsia. And then there is this Yes Way Rose color that is well, I wouldn't say to die for. I wouldn't die for a bead, but just an expression, right? Oh gosh, it's so pretty. I wish I had one that I could show you, but they are gorgeous. Go check those out. And then there's Feeling Rosy Golden, and it is gorgeous as well. It's got the gold roses on it, but that rosé color, ooh, yes, yes, please. And then of course there is the huge selection of cage beads, and cage beads comes in small, medium, large, and extra large. And the extra large and the really baby small ones, those are my favorites. And I do have some to show you of these so that we can kind of, or so that I rather can give you kind of an idea of what the sizes look like, because I know that there's a measurement on the website, right? The big ones are 25 millimeters. Something is itching me all of a sudden. I'm so sorry. But the largest ones are 25 millimeters, and then they go all the way down to a 12 millimeter. Well, you can see that on the picture, and clearly they're a little bit bigger, but it's really cool to be able to hold them like out and see the differences here in the sizes. So I'm going to show you. I have some of my very favorite colors here. Hold on. So, the gunmetal, I just wanted to make sure. I've got the gunmetal in all of the sizes, so I'll show you those. And I've got some silver ones pulled out too. But as far as our design today, we're using the Haunted Hayride mini bead mix, and we're going to use some of the smallest cage beads. Beads? I'm just making up words now. Cage beads. We're going to use some of these little baby ones, 2 for each earring, because they're just sassy and fun. And guys, I don't know that this makes any difference at all, but cage beads were probably one of my first introductions to Jesse James beads. Like I found cage beads at a show one time, and come to find out they were Jesse James beads, and that I was hooked immediately. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Please give me more. And of course, I bought a ton of the big ones. Like, I had to have them. They're so fun. I love to just take a bunch of them and link them together with jump rings, and you've got the most amazing, like, blinged out, perfect jewelry for any occasion, like even in your blue jeans and tennis shoes. I'm just saying. But it also looks really great with your black dress. So okay, let's get down to business. Let's take a quick look at the beads. Let's take a quick look at the cage beads, and then let's put together a sassy pair of earrings, guys. This pair of earrings is going to include a little bit of chain. You can use jump rings in place of the chain if you want to. There are a ton of jump rings in this project, and we're doing a little bit of wire wrapping. There are alternatives to what I'm going to show you, but this kind of is one of those, like, I want to encourage you to try, right? And if you can't, there's an alternative, but definitely give it a try. All right, let's get down to it. Let's do this. Okay, so first and foremost, let's take a look at the cage beads, shall we? Let me move this out of the way. So I wanted you to see all of the different sizes so that you can get a really good idea. So these are the extra large ones. These are the 25 millimeter. These are my favorite next to the little babies. I love these. There's just something really, really cool about it. And I've always wanted to add these to something other than jewelry. And I think that I might just actually do that. Like, I've got this beaded floral arrangement downstairs. It's like it sits on the table. It's got flowers in the middle of it, but around the edge of the vase, it has some really beautiful beads. I feel like cage beads hanging on the bottom all the way around would be amazing. So yeah, think outside the box with your cage beads. So those are the big ones, super big ones. The next ones down are still large and in charge. Love that. So these are the next step down, right? These are the 20. And then you've got these guys. So that's going to be the medium. And then you've got the little babies. So there's all the different sizes. And I hope that kind of gives you an idea. I'll put my hands down here so you can kind of see a size comparison. So the big ones really are big, like super big. Okay. And that might not be for everybody, but it totally is for me. And then the little baby ones, these are just as cute as they can possibly be. And they look really awesome. Like if you take like 5 or 6 of these and make just one like beaded chain of your little cage beads and attach an ear wire. Oh, such a fancy, fancy pair of earrings. Love, love, love. I'm just a huge fan. Can you tell? I love the cage beads. And then of course, here's some of the silver ones that I pulled out that were kind of that medium size. So just giving you a little look-see here of the cages so that you can see the sizes. We're going to use these little baby ones. So I'm going to sit these right here so that I can get to them for our project. And then we have the Haunted Hayride mix. Now, this one is missing a couple of beads, obviously, because I've already made an earring so that I have something to refer to, and we have a set. But I am going to dump this out for you so that you can see what all is in here. Just know that there are beads that are missing. So there's definitely more, just not on the mat. Exactly. So just to show you, this little guy is going to be, he's going to be the centerpiece, right? He's going to be the centerpiece because we want this to be a Halloween earring. And after Halloween is over, if you just want a fall earring that you can continue to wear all the way through Thanksgiving, then you can take this little guy off and pop a tassel in his place, and it would still look really, really awesome. So just keep that in mind. Like, he doesn't have to be permanent. You can always take him off and just add something in the middle that's a little bit different, and you can get even more wear out of your earrings. Look at the drops. Cannot ignore the drops here because I just love drop beads. They're so gorgeous, and the faceted ones are amazing, but that's not the only drop that's in here. So these kind of deep red brown drops are gorgeous. Those are miracle beads, you guys, and they're called miracle beads because it looks like they're glowing from within. These are amazing. There are some of these guys, which I also love. This color, yes, that is everything fall to me right there. And then of course there are my other favorites. So there are black stars in here. There are rhinestone spacers with the black beads in them. There are some copper daisy spacers that are gorgeous, 2 different kinds of tassels, and of course all the little baby beads that I just can't get enough of. So there's little faceted beads, there are just the little round beads in browns and oranges. Just a gorgeous overall mix. Really, really beautiful. And that being said, I've picked out a selection of beads to put on this earring just because they were kind of the ones that spoke to me. But as far as the beads on the earring is concerned, you absolutely can change up the beads for this earring design with beads that are in this mix, and it's still going to be amazing, okay? Okay, so let's get started. We are going to first create a little what shall we call it? It's going to be, these earrings have like a kind of, definitely have a boho feel to them. So we're going to make some loops, and we're going to wire wrap our loops to a piece of wire. Well, I'm missing a piece of wire. That's why I'm like looking at my stuff and I'm like, something's missing here. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to cut another piece of wire because I forgot about this part when I was cutting wire last night. Okay, so we want I believe it's a 4-inch piece of wire and a 5-inch piece of wire. So I've got 2 pieces of 18 gauge wire here. That measurement may be completely off, and we can adjust here in just a second. I'll measure it up next to the one that the one that I've already made. But just for the sake of moving forward, let's start with this smaller piece, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use our small bell making pliers, and we're going to use the large mandrel on the small bell making pliers, and we're going to start on one end of our wire, and we're just going to turn a simple loop, okay? Just like so. And I want to leave it just like it is. Yes, this piece of wire is way too big. Oh, I wish I had been more awake last night when I was doing this. Okay, hold on. We're going to cut this down a bit. Let's cut this down to about 2 1/4. That may still be a little bit big too. I'm sorry, you guys. All right. And we're going to turn a loop on the other end as well. That is still, in my opinion, too big. Hold on. Patience. Okay, let's just make it 2 inches. I'm sorry. So sorry. Did not mean for that to happen at all. I thought I had cut all of my pieces of wire last night, and it appears that I did not. So we're going to cut a 2-inch piece. Now we're cooking with grease, and we're going to use the larger mandrel on the small bell making pliers and turn a loop on either side. Now that seems too small. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Okay. Oh man. What a day, you guys. What a day. Hang on. I'm going to get this right one way or another. I can't believe I didn't cut this piece though. That really frustrates me. Okay. So I'm trying not to show you the actual earring just yet. Because sorry, that's why I'm out of the screen. I don't want you guys to think that I've left. I haven't, I promise. I'm still here. Just making a a little cut here to make sure that I've got the right size piece of wire. How frustrating. I can't believe I did that. All right, one more time, and then we're moving forward, even if the earrings are not going to be the exact. Yeah, shake it off. It's okay. It's okay. That coffee's going to kick in here any minute, and things are going to be just fine. No problems. No problems. All right. Okay, we're good to go now. I got the right size. I just missed cutting a piece, and then when you sleep, you kind of forget if you don't, you know. Okay, so here's our little piece, and I know that doesn't seem like such a big deal, but I wanted to be sure that I had the measurement right because I want both of the earrings to match. So let me just lay this out here for you. So after you make the loops on the ends, you're going to have about 1.5 inches little section here, but you need to take into consideration the amount of wire that it takes to make the loops, which is going to be, for the larger portion of the mandrel, is going to be about 1/4 of an inch, maybe closer to 1/2 inch. You've got to have that extra, you know, room to make the loop. So don't cut your piece right at your 1.5 or 2 inches, right? You need to have that extra in there. Okay, so whew, we got through that part. Thank you for your patience with me this morning. Oh man, are you sure it's not a Monday? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this little guy and we're going to put him on the block, and we're going to work harden him just a little bit because we do need to adjust how he looks. So I don't want him to be completely hard, so hard that we can't bend him. But I do kind of want to ensure that shape a little bit. So just using the steel block and the nylon hammer, and we're good to go. That's plenty for now, okay? And I noticed that my loops here are not quite closed. I do want to make sure that I've got closed loops here. We are actually going to open those back up, but make sure, because we're going to attach some beads to those loops at the end, and we don't want those guys to sneak out, okay? All right, so this is going to be kind of the frame of our section where, where we are going to add some little loops. And we're also going to be using these small bell making pliers to create some loops here, and we are going to use the same portion of the tool and another piece of 18 gauge wire. Now for this piece of 18 gauge wire, I do have the measurement on this guy. You're going to need about 5 inches. That's going to give you a little bit extra so that you've got some to hold on to, okay? And we're going to use the small bell making pliers just to make a series of loops. We're going to turn a simple loop at the end here, okay? Now we're going to grab the wire. I'm placing the bell making pliers, hold you up just a little bit so you can get a better view of this, okay? Placing the bell making pliers right next to the loop that we just made, and we're going to make a second loop. So this one will be directly next to the first one. So when you take it off of the tool, that's what you've got. And we want to make 5 of these. Okay, again, placing the wire so that the loop that we just made is sitting right up against the edge of the bell making pliers. Roll around to make ourselves a loop. Okay, that's 3. We need to do 2 more. So same thing, placing it right there. Roll around for 4. Okay, and 1 more. All right, so now we've got our 5 loops, and we're going to wire wrap those to the bottom of this guy. Now, this is the part where I feel like some of you are going to think, okay, I can't do that part. And I want to encourage you to try, okay? I really, really want to encourage you to try. If you absolutely feel like you can't do this wire wrapping part, you can actually make this little component, because that's what we're making here. Our little component, you can actually do the entire component out of one solid piece of wire without wire wrapping. But I thought this would just be good practice. in wire wrapping two small things together. Okay, so that's why I chose to do it this way. You could absolutely do just like we did with a larger than 5-inch piece of wire. Do 5 loops going this direction and then turn 2 loops on the end, and you would have one solid piece. Okay, so you can totally cheat this if you want, but I encourage you to try it this way. Okay, I really do. Okay, again, I'm going to take this little section and going to work harden it just a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. Okay, so now that's ready to go. Now, we are going to take a piece of 24 gauge wire, and I'm using the German style wire for this, and you're only going to need about 12 inches of this. Okay, and to get started, we're just going to take our 24 gauge wire, and we're going to anchor it to this guy. Okay, and we only need a little bit, about a 1/2 inch, an inch here, and just want to wrap that onto our little component here. Oops. Okay, slide that back down. Okay, those wire wraps are a little far apart, so I can always use my tools to kind of clean that up a little bit. It's okay. That's what the tools are for. Ricky says, what gauge wire? So these are, the component portions are 18 gauge German style, and this wire wrapping wire that we're going to use is the 24 gauge wire. So we've got 18 and 24 here. Okay, now we want to attach this as we are wire wrapping around this section. Okay, no guys, not 20. It's 18 for the base, 18 for the base, and whoa, I just lost a bead. 18 for the base, and then 20 for the wire wrapping wire. I totally put that on there upside down. Okay, so you just want to thread your component onto your 24 gauge wire. You can totally use 20 for this, but you're going to need to work harden it a lot. Okay, a lot. And I really should get rid of the tail, but I want to have a little something to hold on to so that the wire doesn't spin. So that's why I haven't cut that off yet, but I am going to kind of smush it. See how I'm smushing it so that I can hold on to it. Okay, so I've thread on the first loop of my little loop-de-loo component here. Okay, and I'm going to just wrap around both. The first, getting that first loop attached is the only part that's really tricky, and it's just because you gotta get it to be secure, right? So it's going to take about 2 wraps to set it in place. And then you don't really have to worry about it doing that whole wiggle dance that it does. Okay, so just 2 wraps around that first loop. Okay, now as you wrap the rest of these loops on, it'll be much easier. Okay, so now this time when I wrap around, I'm going to wrap around both. I'm going through the center of the next loop. Okay, and I want to do 2 wraps around both. So each loop is going to get 2 wraps. And you can see this is not super hard wire wrapping. It's just a matter of holding everything still and in place. And it's not even like the prettiest wire wrap in the whole world either. You can totally do this with a messy wrap. Jane says she's so confused about the gauges. Okay. It's because there was a lot of chatter going on. Guys, the loop component and the straight component with the 2 loops on either side is 18 gauge German style wire. This thin wire that I'm wrapping the 2 together is 24 gauge wire. How we doing? You got it. You got it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next loop. So that's the 3rd loop that's in our row here. And I'm just going to take the 24 gauge wire through the center, right, and pull it through. And when I wrap back around, I'm catching that top little component. Okay, 2 wraps through each loop, just like so. Okay, moving on to our 4th loop. And 2nd wrap through on the 4th loop. Okay. We just got 1 more loop to go. Hey guys, just in case you ever have those kinds of questions and maybe I don't see them or everybody gets confused, there are a couple of places where you can find the materials lists and the measurements for things. With the exception of that first piece, apparently I did not write that in the materials list, so my apologies for that. But when I post an event for Jesse James Beads, I have gotten in the habit of trying to include the materials list in the event description so you can see ahead of time what things we're going to be using, and then you can also get all of that information over on the blog on jessijamesbeads.com, where this video will live, as well as the beauty shot of the picture and the materials list. So there are a lot of places where you can get the materials list if you ever forget, right? Because I mean, sometimes we're just watching and then later on we go to recreate and we've forgotten or we didn't write it down. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap around our component just like maybe 2 times just to kind of anchor it, so it wasn't going through a loop. I was just anchoring that down, and now I'm going to trim off. Okay. And now I can finally cut off this little tail that has been driving me crazy. But a lot of times that tail is necessary because you want to be sure that you've got something to hold on so that your wrapping wire doesn't spin around your component. If you can hold it still, at least until you've got it really secured on there, it really helps. Okay, so this is our little component, and I know, just like I said, you could totally cheat and not do it this way. In fact, there are a couple of different ways you can achieve the exact same look, but this is just a short little section of wire wrapping, and I really encourage you to just try it. Like if this is your first, if this is your first try at wire wrapping 2 things together, this is a good one to start with just because there's only 5 loops here, right? Once you get used to wrapping 2 pieces together with the 5 loops, then you can think bigger, right? When you get the feel of it. So that's going to be our little bottom portion of our earring. We're going to, of course, hang things from this, including some of these gorgeous cage beads. So let's put together the dangles for our earring because I love all of the dangles. That part's super, super fun. And I'm actually going to put together several beads here. So I want this gorgeous orange round to be in the center. Now he is going to be kind of crowded, so he's going to, of course there's movement involved, right? So he might not always be hanging this direction. He's going to kind of fluctuate, and sometimes he's going to be to the side because there's a lot going on here. But we've got him, we're going to flank him on either side with 2 cage beads, and then I'm going to use 2 of these gorgeous drops because I can't not use those. And then last but not least, on these 2 loops up here, we're going to use 2 of these little rondelles. So we have a really full, beautiful mix of lots of sparkle going on, okay? So we're going to put all of this together. I'm going to use some head pins to do this, and then we're going to attach them to the component with some 4mm jump rings, and we are going to do some wrapped loops. So let's start in the middle. Okay, just thread that guy on, and then we are going to grab the wire where it is exiting the bead with our chain nose pliers. Oh, Donna, thank you. I'm so glad that you do. We're going to bend just like so, and then coming in with the round nose pliers, go up and over. I can't wait for you to see the finished earring. They're so fun. And then onto the other side, and then I'm going to use my pliers to hold on to that wire and wire wrap in the space between the loop and the bead. Okay. So there's our wire wraps loop on this guy. And then I'm just going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the excess wire that we don't need. So there he is. Now our cage beads are not going to need any wire wrapping. We're just going to attach these with some jump rings. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute, because sometimes there's some confusion that is involved with where to place your jump rings with your cage beads. I have my trick to it, so I'll show that to you guys. And then we're going to do some wire wrapping on these last 4 beads that we have here, and we'll put everything together, and I'll show you where to put our little pumpkin guy. Don't forget, he's going in the middle. He's still part of our design. All right, so some more wire wrapping. Just thread on one of our beads to a head pin. Good morning, Suzanne. How are you, my friend? Roll that out of the way and then switch hands. Okay, there's that one. I found some jump rings. Well, no, I didn't. Well, I mean, actually I did, but these are gold colored jump rings. It's the silver ones that I ran out of. But I did find some in my work bag, and there's enough in there to get me through until my order comes in. So I guess technically the answer is yes. Hey, Carrie Lee, how are ya? All right, same thing, another wrapped loop. So we've thread on our bead, we're grabbing the wire where it is exiting the bead. There's no space between my pliers and the top of the bead, okay? Don't add extra space there, you don't need it. Gonna bend the wire, take the pliers away, and because of where we were holding our pliers, it already makes the space. So you don't have to make extra space there. The pliers are gonna do that for you. Now you're gonna come in with the round nose pliers, grab the wires, those are running between those pliers, take it up and over the top barrel of the round nose pliers, then roll the pliers out of the way and take the wire over to the other side. And then, hi Wanda, we are going to wire wrap. Okay. So there's that guy. We've got 2 more to go. I can't wait to get these finished so that I can wear them. You ever feel that way about a design that you're working on? You're just like, oh, can I get done already so I can put these on? I see a lot of you guys' posts, and you guys tend to say the same things, like you made a piece of jewelry that you had intended to sell or give as a gift, but you love it so much that you just can't, and you keep it for yourself. I have like a whole stack of that. That happens very frequently in this room, where I'll make something and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna keep that. That's mine. All right, another wrapped loop. This time we're doing the little rondelle here. Look how pretty. I love how such a little baby bead can have so much gorgeous shimmer and sparkle to it. And that color, that's the color that I collect. I don't know where my little box is. I think I've shown it to you before. It's not a box, it's a little container where I kind of hoard this color. I have a whole little bucket full of this color bead where I just save them. I haven't used them for anything. I just save them because I really, really love that color. It's kind of a peachy orange. And that has, do you see that kind of purple pop to it? Oh yeah, so pretty, so pretty. Okay, so last little wire wrap on our beads. Gonna go up and over, roll the pliers out of the way, take that over to the other side, and wire wrap. Just like so. And then we're gonna trim off. Stacia, that's okay. You were getting some extra sleep for me. I forgive you. I forgive you. All right, so those are all of our beads. We're going to put these together on our little component. And I don't know if you remember or not, but at the beginning I said we don't want to work hard on this too much because we do want to be able to kind of manipulate the shape of this a little bit. I just want to give it a very, very slight kind of curve shape. Do you see how I just barely kind of moved it so that it's kind of in a very shallow U shape? Okay, keeping it really, really shallow, but that's going to kind of help separate our beads as they are hanging. Okay, so now what we've got to do is we need to put together the beads with their jump rings, and we're going to start out with our cage beads, and I'm going to use a combination of 6mm jump rings and 4mm jump rings to attach our cage beads. Okay, just because I don't want them to be too crowded, I need that 6mm bead in between there to make them hang a little bit lower. Okay, so when it comes to cage beads, there are a lot of different things that you can do, but I particularly like to hang them so that they are in this configuration, so that there is a square facing me. Do you see that? The square is facing me. I'm going to consider that the face or the front of the cage bead. Now, you can pick yours wherever you want it to be. If you don't want it to be a square and you want it to be a diamond, that's fine, but you're going to have to attach your jump ring in a different place, okay? I like to have mine all hang in the same direction, and this is going to give me 2 points. I've got a point at the top where 2 sides are coming together and a point at the bottom where 2 sides are coming together. To me, that is the easiest way to attach the jump rings and the easiest way to make sure that if I need to put a jump ring on the bottom and on the top, they're even, right? So I'm just going to open up my 6mm jump ring here, and then I'm going to hook that through that point at the top. See, so when you're looking at it from the top, this is what I've got. See where everything kind of comes to an X? My jump ring is threaded through those, going in the same direction as the square. Okay, now I'm going to close that back, and you can see if I needed to add a jump ring to the bottom to hang something else from it, there's a point right here at the bottom. Both jump rings would be easy. Would be easy, really? Both jump rings would be even. Oh goodness. I might need to go back to bed. A little extra coffee. Oh, what a morning. Okay, now I'm going to open up a 4mm jump ring, and same thing here. Now I'm going to use this 4mm jump ring as our connection from our cage bead to our little component here. Now that larger orange bead is going to go in the middle, so this one is going to go one over from the middle. I'm just going to attach that and then close it back. Okay. And I'm going to take the other cage bead and put it over here. So our middle hole is still open. Now, when you're doing this yourself, you can start in the middle and work your way out. You can start on one end and work your way to the other end. I just wanted to take some extra time to show you how to do the cage bead part. And I wanted to do it before this gets crowded with other beads so that you could see it really well. Okay. That's the only reason why we haven't just started in the middle. Okay. Now open another 6mm jump ring. Take my cage bead, give it a look, see where that square on the front is going to be for me, right there. You just spin it around in your fingers a little bit. Right, oops. Hook that on, just like so. Okay, and now we're going to close that back. So you can see I've attached that jump ring right at the point. And now I'm going to use a 4mm jump ring to attach it to our component. Okay. So again, there's the middle. I'm going to go over to the other side of the middle. Okay. So that's what we've got so far. Let's put that orange bead, the big one here in the middle. I'm going to use 4mm jump ring. In fact, I'm going to use 4mm jump rings for the rest of these jump rings here. Okay. I agree. Is that Miss Kelly? Kelly's running the JJB messages. I'm pretty sure that was Kelly. And she said she'd like to have a whole jar of cage beads because they're just so pretty. I would too. Me too. All right, so attaching that middle bead with a jump ring. Suzanne says, good question. Mine too. Did I miss a question, you guys? You're gonna have to use your caps. Use your caps. Marianne says, did you use a 6mm jump ring on one side and a 4mm on the other? I did not. So, and I assume you're talking about the cage bead. So I used a 6mm jump ring on just right at the point, just to add extra drop, right? Just to add some extra room between the actual cage bead and the component. And then I used the 4mm jump ring through the 6mm jump ring to attach it to the component. That 6mm jump ring is more than anything just there to create some extra space. Okay, just so that our cage beads have a little extra room to do their wiggle and show off their beautiful sparkle. Okay, now I'm going to add these beautiful brown drops, and they're not really brown. They're like a orange red brown. Okay, those are going to go on the last loop, not this guy, but the last loop in this row of loops here. Close that back. And same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to, yes, you got it, Marianne. You got it, my friend. Did you make the component? I did. I did make the component. We wire wrapped two 18 gauge little components together to create our little middle section, and we wrapped it together with some 24 gauge wire. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now we've got these little guys, and they're going to hang in this loop that's going the opposite direction as the loops here on the bottom. Okay, so same thing. It's just they're placed a little bit further out, but it's the same. We're just going to open a 4mm jump ring and attach those. Whoops. And then attach those to the loop and close. Attach to the loop and close. Okay, so that's all of our beads here that are going to be hanging in the bottom. Christina Long says her pliers have magnetized. What can she do? You know what? That's a really, really good question. And I would love to know what you can do about that as well. I know there is something that you can do, but mine periodically get magnetized too. When I'm using magnetic clasps, a lot of times they will get magnetized, and I've noticed that over time it goes away just by using the pliers and staying away from magnets. Like over time it will go away, but as far as like what a quick fix is for that, I'm not really sure. We should look that up and see, because there's got to be something that you can do to reverse that. Maybe not. I might be wrong. I don't know enough about magnets to know, but I do know that once they get magnetized, eventually it wears off. Or at least gets, maybe it doesn't wear off. Maybe we just get used to it. It can be really frustrating though. You know, I've been there several times, so I know it's a frustrating thing to have happen, particularly if it's your one favorite pair of pliers that you're trying to use and it ends up being such a pain. So I totally get it. And I'm sure a lot of others get it as well. Dip them in flour and then fry them. What? Add hot sauce and you've got pliers wings. No way. Joy, you're so silly. All right. Oh gosh. Okay. Hey, I might believe anything this morning. I'm telling you. I'm just having a day. Having a day. Hit it hard against wood and that demagnetizes it. Really? Huh. That is interesting. Kanitha says, I thought that was supposed to happen. My jump rings stick to the pliers. It's really not supposed to happen. It's really not supposed to happen, but it does happen all the time, I'm telling you. Okay, so now we're ready to put our earring together, and I'm using some chain that is available at Jesse James Beads. Look at how pretty those links are. Just a beautiful, beautiful shine to that. This chain is just really, really good, is really beautiful. I think the name of this is Mother and Son in gold. And again, it's in the list, so you can go straight to this one if this is the kind of chain that you want to use. If you don't want to use the chain, you definitely can just use a series of jump rings. And I want to mention, because in the materials list, there are not extra jump rings when it comes to the pieces of chain, because the chain already had these little jump rings on there. So I didn't add those to the materials list. They already have 4mm jump rings on either end when I cut the little sections of chain. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the materials list, and when you're looking at like this jump ring that I'm going to attach here, just keep in mind it was already there. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces of this, and they're really only about 1.5 inches long each, but more than anything, it's 3 of the oval links, right? That's really kind of how I measure this kind of chain. It's just 3 of the big links, and make sure you leave the 4mm jump rings on either end. And then we also want to attach our pumpkin guy here, and he needs to hang in the middle, and he needs a little extra length to do that. So I'm going to link together, I believe 6. Let me make sure on the other one just to be sure that I got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So we're going to link together 6 4mm jump rings to this guy, so that he's going to hang a little bit further down in our little component. Let me show, or in our earring construction, let me kind of show you what we're going for here. So these 2 pieces of chain are going to come up to a triangle, right? We're going to attach those with a 6mm jump ring, and our ear wire will go here. In order to make our pumpkin hang down here instead of up here and kind of distort the shape of the earring, we need to add the jump rings, right, to give him some length so that he hangs down a little bit lower. However, if you don't want to use 4mm jump rings to do that, another small section of chain will work. It just needs to be a smaller section, or a smaller shaped chain than what we've got here on the sides. Okay. Okay. So we're just going to create our little chain of 4mm jump rings. This first one, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to our pumpkin. I'm going to thread on a second jump ring, close that back. Okay, I'm going to take another 4mm jump ring, open that one up, attach, and then another, and close. Got 2 more to add. Open. Okay, and then the last one, and close. So he's got a little length on him now, so he's going to hang exactly where we want him to hang when we put everything together. Okay, now I am going to attach our 2 pieces of chain here, and I'm going to open up the little 4mm jump ring that is on the end, and I'm going to thread that onto this loop and close it back. Okay, so now you can see where that's attached. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take a 4mm jump ring that's already on the chain, open it up, thread it on. Okay, now we're ready to just do the finishing touch here, and that's going to be with our 6mm jump ring. So a 6mm jump ring, I'm going to go through that 4mm jump ring at the top of one of our pieces of chain. Okay, I'm going to thread on that top 4mm jump ring with our pumpkin, and then the top 4mm jump ring on the other side of our chain. So that's what we've got. Okay, make sure he's going to hang the right way. Okay, and if you want to, you can go ahead and attach your ear wire before you close the jump ring, but mine is actually sitting over here open. See the little opening? It was already open, so I'm just going to Oops. I'm going to thread it on to that 6mm jump ring as well, and then close it back. So at that point, well, right here, it's going to kind of depend on what kind of ear wire you use, right, as to how that connection is going to happen. So, all right, and I see somebody was talking about this. Okay, so Barbara says, what bead set is this? This is the Haunted Hayride bead set, and here's just kind of a sampling of what else was in here. And then at the beginning, I told you guys, this earring, if you don't like the pumpkin, right, you can always remove him. Or after Halloween is over and you want to get some more wear out of this earring, because these beautiful beads are going to work, you know, forever, and Halloween is over, you could replace the pumpkin with one of these gorgeous tassels in the middle. How pretty would that be? Or you could replace it with any of the other beads. These gorgeous drops, those would look so pretty hanging in the middle. I just wanted to keep this kind of Halloween themed because this is a Halloween mix. But, you know, after Halloween is over, if you don't want the pumpkins anymore, just open up a jump ring and put something else on there, right? Or if you don't ever want it to be a pumpkin, you can put whatever you want to on there as well. So you can mix this up quite a bit. You could even add extra beads hanging from each one of the links. All of these beautiful little tiny beads, right? They would look really cool, like hanging as wrapped loops or simple loops attached on either side of the chain pieces. So you have the opportunity to add even more beads to this if you want to and get really kind of crazy over the top with it, which in my opinion is never a bad thing. And if you don't like the bead selection that I have put on the bottom, you absolutely can just change that out with any of the other beads from the mix, and you're still going to have this beautiful color palette. So yeah, Kathleen says that big faceted drop, that would look amazing in the center. It really, really would. Or as the center down here on the bottom. And there's two of them, so you could do one for each earring, right? You could put those wherever you wanted to. And then these guys, I think these would look really beautiful hanging from it as well. So you've got a lot of options, guys. I'm just giving you kind of the basics and, you know, giving you a little technique that you can use however you want. And if this is too big of an earring for you, you can always adjust this. You can get rid of the pumpkin and shorten up the chain pieces and maybe make smaller bead dangles down here, or you could just make a pendant out of it if you wanted to as well, right? That's why we love earrings so much, is because they can always double as a pendant, particularly the big ones, which we make a lot of. We like big. We like to make them big, but not everybody wears big, and I get that. So just know that every time we make an earring and it is large and in charge, I'm doing it with the full thought process that you could change this up and make it a pendant if you wanted to. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around. I'm going to put these on because I've been waiting to put these on the entire time, and then we will say our goodbyes for the day. And for the week, actually, at least here on Jesse James Beads. Whew. All right, guys. So, put on these earrings. Yeah, it's like a charm bracelet pendant if you wanted to use it as. Look how fun! That's so fun. I love it. And the little pumpkin, he's going to swing and sway, kind of do his own thing. I'm okay with that because even if he is facing towards the back, you still know that he's a jack-o'-lantern because he has the cutouts, right? Marianne says, too big for me, but a pendant, yes, absolutely. And I totally get that. That is 100% in my mind every time I do an earring. Because I know, trust me, I know not everybody likes big earrings. It's funny because I've got two girls. I have a son too, but he doesn't wear earrings. But I've got two girls and they don't like big earrings at all. Like that. That's just, they're not big earring fans. So if I make an earring that is really big like this one and they're like, Mom, then I'll make a smaller version for them just because, we all have different preferences. But yeah, this would look super cool as a pendant. And if I were going to do it as a pendant, I would put the tassel in the middle. Just because I love tassels. That would be my thought process on that. But Kathleen says, dang, perfect with your hair. Yeah, I can pull off orange like nobody's business. And it really doesn't matter what shade of orange. It's too bad I don't love orange more because I can wear orange. I can't wear yellow, but I can do orange for sure. Donna says they'd be cute without anything hanging in the middle. I agree. I agree. They would be really pretty without anything in the middle. So if I pull that away, you can see, yeah, that's a sassy, sassy earring no matter what you do to it. And you totally could shorten that up and make it smaller. Yeah, love it. Cool. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you for your patience with that whole piece of wire that I didn't have the measurement on. I apologize for that. I do not know why I did not have that written down. I'm normally really good about that, but you know, we're all human and things happen and we just roll with it. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. Don't forget the weekly deals. Don't forget that you can catch me tomorrow on Sarah Ellis Designs. As of right now, it's possible that I may have to cancel tomorrow's, but I'll keep you posted. But most of the time, you can always catch me on Sarah Ellis Designs at 1 p.m. tomorrow, always on Fridays. And if not, I will see you guys on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Maker Monday. And I've got new stuff coming, you guys. There are new beady goodness, beady strands on their way. So keep your ears to the ground. You're going to see. Sign up for that newsletter so you don't miss a beat. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.